What is up, Hammerheads? Welcome back to the Forge. Today, we're talking about metal. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so the reason why we're going to be talking about different metal today, and I want to go in a little bit of detail about it, is because we're going to be making a steel for a flint and steel kit. Let me let an airplane pass over. You ever have one of those days where everything just kind of like makes a lot of noise? That happens every time I'm trying to do a video. I don't care if it's 5 in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon like it is right now. It always happens. Anyways, guys, back to the video. We're going to be making a flint and steel, the steel for a flint and steel fire kit. If you don't know really what I'm talking about, go back to, I think, the last video, and I do a flint and steel fire showing the basis of how to use flint and steel, and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. But I want to go into some detail about why we use the material that we use, so you have the greatest success when you go to make your fire steel. So first and foremost, I want to talk about what metal to use. You want to use a high carbon steel. So when I make knives or I'm making the fire steels, generally I use any 3 types of metal. I like these 3. These are the ones that I use. One of them I use all the time. The other 2 when I have it or I just want to make something out of it. So what I mainly use is 5160 spring steel, which is what your cool springs are made out of, okay? And I have it in flat bar form when I make knives, and then I also have it in round bar form that I got from a friend of mine that works really well. But a cool spring, the same cool spring we used in the punch and the chisel videos and in the knife making video, will work great for your fire steel or your steel. I always call them fire steels, so that's what we're going with. Another good material to use is a file. Now, before you use your file, heat it up to critical heat and then put it in, sorry guys, put it in some wood ash or some sand, something to anneal it. Because there's a lot of stress on this file, and when you start hammering on it, it could crack. Talked about that when we made the file knife, but I'm going to re-emphasize that, okay guys? And I also will use 1095, but mainly I use it for knife blades, and I don't use it a ton for fire steels, but it will throw sparks. So if you have some 1095, it will work good. Do not use mild steel, okay? If it is very low carbon steel, it will not get hard enough to throw sparks. So, and I'll go into more detail about flint and steel once we make one. But when you're striking, you're not taking sparks from the stone. The stone is pulling microscopic fragments off of your steel, and they're combusting in the air, and that's what's making, they're combusting the oxygen, and that's what's making the sparks. So you want to use a good high carbon steel. Now I use those 3. There are other steels out there, or metals out there that you can use that are good high carbon. These are the ones that I've had the most success with, and that's what I'm going to be using, especially since car springs are really available at a lot of scrap yards and places like that. Now, I'm going to take you over to the grinder, because if you don't know what kind of steel it is, say you find this piece in your shop and you don't know if it's high carbon or not. So let's go over to the grinder, and I'm going to show you what a spark test is. And it's going to give you the idea if it's high carbon or if it's mild steel. I'm going to take this piece of mild steel with us also, and you can see the difference, because there's a distinctive difference of the sparks that come off of it from mild steel to high carbon. Now, is it going to tell you how much carbon's in it or anything like that? No, but it is going to let you know it is high carbon steel. So let's walk over there, guys. Okay guys, I am gonna spark the mild steel first, and then I'm gonna do the high carbon. All right. All right. Now time for the high carbon. There we go. We go back to the mild. Alright guys, I changed over to a piece of flat bar that was a little bigger just so you can see the sparks better. But what you're going to be looking for is an explosion like a sparkler. Sorry the sunlight, but you can see how this is exploding out versus I want to show you what a file looks like also. So well, let me get you in here where we can see. Put it down there. There we go. I don't know if you could hear me in the video or not, guys, whenever I was grinding. As you could see with the high carbon steel, and I got a bigger piece of flat bar, because even though this small piece was throwing sparks, you really couldn't see it as well as I wanted you to. So I'll look at both sections and put the best one in there. But with high carbon, it has exploding sparklers coming off of it a lot more than what mild steel will have. Mild steel generally just grinds down in one direction, where high carbon kind of explodes out in little sparklers all over the place. Another material you can use, and I do use them from time to time with a fire steel, is Damascus steel. It will throw sparks. It will strike a ferrocerium rod. I do sell them in the necklace form, but I don't tend to forge them out into fire steels. Generally, it's what's left over from a knife, and I'll turn it into some kind of steel. That's just too much work to make a $400 fire steel out of Damascus. If I have extra Damascus left over, like little pieces left over from a knife, I'll turn those into different fire steels. But Damascus does work very well if it is a good high carbon that's been mixed in with the 15 and 20 more chrome material. But guys, that's the video. I just kind of want to do a brief rundown of, you know, the reason why we use high carbon, because you need that hardness for it to be able to strike on the stone. We will be making the fire steel in the next video, and we will be striking it, and I'll show you some more techniques with it. But guys, like I said, that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless. Keep hammering.